Somehow the Proud Boys are still a thing, and they're actually keeping busy, getting involved in a bunch of different activities over the past few months. They've forged ties with anti-vaxxers in LA, provided security to evangelicals outside of Planned Parenthood in Salem, Oregon, and joined Cuban protesters in Miami. Their attempt to insert themselves into the discussion over critical race theory in Nashua, though, is just the latest example of this. So this is New Hampshire's second largest city, and it's become one of the focal points for the nationwide culture war fight over issues like school mask mandates, a bunch of stuff involving police. But what we want to focus on is how they're getting involved in the conversation around critical race theory, which isn't taught at any of the schools that they're protesting at, but they're not going to accept that. And now, seemingly, there is nothing about the sort of founding philosophy of the Proud Boys that would lead them to be razor focused on like stopping kids from getting a historically accurate accounting of systemic bias in the US government or economy or anything like that, but they are getting involved in it. So let's see, we have local activists posting photos of the group loitering by a school building in Nashua, holding flags, flashing the OK sign that totally isn't a thing about racism, carrying signs saying things like Marxism has no home here. After a solitary Proud Boy showed up earlier this week and raised alarm bells, the local BLM called on community members to rally at the next meeting. On Wednesday, about a dozen Proud Boys joined by anti-maskers showed up. So, look, I think that we all get over the past few months that this really doesn't have much to do with kids or their education. But when you're like randomly having a protest about critical race theory at schools that don't teach it, where the reinforcements you get are anti-maskers, is any of this really about any particular issue? Any more than like the Tea Party was supposedly about debt and in practice had nothing to do with that? This just feels like a whole bunch of jumbled up, I don't like anything that's going on. We gotta find something to get people fired up about. We're gonna offer no solutions to actual problems. So I guess it's something about race or something about freedom, something vague to help them organize. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, no, but there's so many amazing parts of this. First of all, if somebody said to me, let's go protest at a school because they're teaching fill in the blank, racism, let's be more specific, anti-Muslim hate, right? And I said, okay, oh my God, that's bad, okay, so let's go protest it, right? And they're like, oh, by the way, they're not actually teaching that. I'd be like, wait, why are we going then? But for the right wing, they're like, oh, no problem, who cares? Oh, they're not actually teaching critical race theory? Let's go do it anyway. And then the second thing I would ask is, hey, are your kids in that school? No, just a random school.
I don't live in the state.
But wait, why are you going to the school board meeting if your kids don't go to that school, going to protest critical race theory, which they don't teach? Right? But for the right wing, all of this has become normal. Like intelligence not required, right? And then the third part of it is the mask. So now everybody's got masks because coronavirus. Ironically, I love this part of the story. I love this. Oftentimes they go to places to support anti-mask activities. They all had masks going to protest a school and sunglasses. You know why? Because they didn't want to be identified.
Yeah.
Because they know they're racist. And they might get fired from their jobs for being racist, especially if they're cops, by the way. And so I don't know if they are. I'm just saying, like that could be a problem for them. So they cover up all their face and they got all masked like crazy. And they're like, anti-mask. Wait, what? Okay. And of course, the reason they're covering their face is the same reason they've been covering their face for hundreds of years. They didn't wear the robes because they liked white. Okay, well, partly. They wore it because they were worried about consequences or embarrassed at how racist they were. That was the Klan. Even back then, they were a little embarrassed by it. And now the Klan is back, but it wears different colors.
First of all, these Proud Boys, where do they find the time to show up at all these places? You just said they have jobs. I thought maybe they don't have jobs because I am a father, I work, I'm married. I can't even I don't have time to join a softball team, much less a racist, homophobic organization. If I were to tell my wife, hey babe, we're gonna go protest progressive issues for people of color, and we're gonna go protest gay people, and we're gonna go protest everything that's good. I'll see you later tonight. My wife would be like, "You're doing what? Have you fixed the toilet? It's leaking. You got to fix the toilet first. Have you washed the dishes? Did you walk the dog? Did you tutor your kids on their homework? Where are you finding the time to go out and protest at the wrong school? It's the wrong school. You dumb, stupid idiots. Do some research. There's no research involved anymore, Cenk. I'm getting messages from my conservative friends. This guy sends all of his research from someone's Facebook page. I don't know who the person is. He quotes this person. He sent me something saying in England, they're now no longer mentioning the Holocaust because they don't want to offend Muslims. I go, what? I just Googled it. It turns out in 2007, somebody started this stupid rumor to go against Muslims. I go, dude, did you Google what you just sent me or are you just sending it? So these Proud Boys should Google, first of all, just go on Google and be like, does this school teach critical race theory? Because I'm gonna go protest it, number one. Number two, the thing with critical race theory, what kind of world are we living in where people are afraid of the full story? It's like having your mom date somebody who's abusive, but he's great at magic. And you're like, oh, he's such a great magician. Yeah, but he beats mom. You're like, yeah, have you seen his card tricks? He beats your mother. Yeah, but card tricks. You understand what I'm saying? That's who these people are. They don't want to hear the full story of what we did as Americans. Hey man, and nobody is in school, by the way. This is always, they say this, they go, oh, they're gonna be telling white kids, this is your fault. I don't think there's any teacher who's looking around going like, Chip, stand up for a second. You caused all this. I mean, what kind of teacher is doing that? If a teacher is doing that, then that teacher would get fired, all right? Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, these people are out of their minds. We all know that. And I hope they have spouses that start to catch on to the fact that these guys are going to these stupid rallies and they're going, dude, I can't do this anymore. You need to go, just get out of my life. I mean, they need to really see the consequences. They need to start losing loved ones because people are, they can't all be as stupid as the actual Proud Boy. There's got to be somebody smart in the family. I'm thinking, I don't know, but maybe I'm being hopeful here, wishful thinking.
Okay, Maz, you're killing me, brother. I mean, have you seen his card trick? And then I love the idea of like, honey, I don't have time to tutor the kid. I'm gonna go protest at some other kid's school. Yeah. Is there any wife that would let you get away with that? Okay, that's crazy. Okay, now on a serious note, some of the Republican states, a lot of Republican states have already passed this law. It's an actual law that says, you are not allowed to tell people that they are responsible for everything because of their ethnicity. Mission accomplished, nobody's saying that. And in fact, if they said white people are responsible for everything, Timmy, you're responsible for everything, we would be against that because that would be racist. We're against racism, okay? That's not what it's saying at all. It's just saying, yes, other than the card trick, yeah, we did have a little bit of racism in this country, right? We did have slavery, these are historical facts. So and guys, the reason I mentioned that nobody teaches critical race theory is that that's not their actual ask. Their actual ask is, we don't want you to teach that America was ever racist. Well, that's like saying, I don't want you to teach history. I mean, did we or did we not have slavery? Of course. Was it based on race? Of course. Was it vicious and horrible? Of course, right? And they're like, no. Don't, freedom of speech, except the things that are true, okay? Yeah. And then finally, they're Proud Boys. That's why they cover up their faces. You sure you're proud? Because it doesn't look like you're proud. Okay.
By the way, one last thing real quickly. If they're afraid of Timmy being blamed for all of America's faults, as an Iranian American, I'll tell you, I've experienced it. Tell Timmy to call me. I'll tell you what it's like when someone you have nothing to do with does something. When the hostage crisis happened and they were blaming me in Northern California, I'm just trying to play kickball. And they're like, you did the hostage crisis. I'm like, I'm 8 years old. I didn't do anything. So tell Timmy to call me. I can console him.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.